Hey, how's it going? Ali, or the Hack here, glitch designer developer, along with the designer Joel. Just giving you an update on what's changed in the last maybe 1 month. Kind of finished a couple of things that I've been working on for a long time, a bit here and a bit there, which have been constantly evolving. Maybe further tweaked, but I can at least tell you how it's working. The first one is the flick. So the flick used to be a thing that you did when you jumped that occurred on the exact frame that you jumped. So it would measure how fast your mouse is traveling, and balance it with your FPS. So it was a fair kind of figure, and it would propel you in the direction that your mouse was pointing when you jumped. So it became like it was a flick dodge kind of thing. That's what we called it. So now if you look down here in the bottom left, there's a little bar that's rising and falling as I move my mouse. And that is labeled mouse finterp. And what it is like a lagged or interpolated figure which represents how fast you're moving your mouse. And the second one is called speed finterp, and you can see it going up now as I'm moving. And it doesn't go down immediately when I stop. And these two things are now feeding into the flick. So instead of being like just how fast you're moving your mouse when you jump, and it's not, sorry, we're not talking about auto jump, by the way. Auto jump is exempt from the flick. If you're auto jumping around, what you're probably doing is glitching, which has changed not much, but I will go over that in a bit. But what we're talking about is when you press jump. So if you land and press jump, you're doing a thing maybe called the flick. So it's measuring these two things when you press jump to jump. So, as you may have guessed, when these two bars are at their highest, you are going to add the most momentum into your jump. And the reason behind this is that I don't want it to be such a frame dependent thing, like you just go like pew, 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 like that. It's a bit fun, but it's maybe I would like it to be a bit more fluid and maybe also a little bit more familiar to people from other games, especially Quake style games. It's not the same as what you'd have in those games, but it may be more familiar. So now we look here in the mouse. If you do like a kind of any kind of movement that gets your mouse, and it's measuring X and Y, not just the lateral. If you do any kind of movement that gets that up, it adds a relative amount to your flick, and that relative amount is kind of multiplied by how fast you're going. It's not that simple, but how fast you're going, or how fast you have been going very recently on average, which is the speed finterp, is then applied to that afterwards to kind of basically give you an opportunity to change your direction and maintain your momentum. That's all this is culminating to, is that. That's what I should have started with that, yes. But that's what it ends up to. So if you're going, say, like 2,200 and then you do a nice flick, you can get up to like, higher than that. So it's always possible to do a flick and maintain your momentum into another direction, or add a bit of momentum on your forward direction. You can probably add a little bit to the side as well, but you've got to wait longer because you've got ground friction, which is going to be slowing you down. It's not slowing you down completely because, of course, it is averaged over your recent speed. But you can see when you land and change. Look at this speed finterp figure down the bottom left. And if I'm going decently fast and then I stop, it goes down a little bit. So if I'm changing direction, I have to wait for my character to kind of stop slowing down when he turns, which is related to the ground friction and acceleration and things, which I can't really tweak because they feel really good how they are. So here's an example. I can actually do this. So I'm fully changing directions, and if I get this right, I can build speed. I can flick faster than I was moving. So it does. I have tweaked it so it will work, can work in just about any circumstance, but is not, you know, completely OP in any circumstance. It is a little bit OP when you're going forward and you do it, but whatever, you know. What map has any place where you can go forward like this more than twice, you know? So that is changed to the flick, and I'm leaving these two little bars down here for the time being, just so we, you know, in case I tweak it further. Although a lot of effort's been put into getting these values correct, or, you know, nice. Alright, glitch has not really changed. Glitching is still glitching. You still rip it around corners, hang your tail out, and get up to like max speed by auto jumping. Or you don't have to be auto jumping, but it's just easier if you are, if you ask me. So this is kind of the, I think it's what Quake people refer to as air strafing. It's a very similar thing. So, you know, you're turning into the corner that you're strafing into with your mouse. So if your mouse and your strafe keys are in cooperation, then you're glitching, and you can get up to the max walk speed, which is 2,225 like this. You can get over that speed with a good flick. Yeah. Alright, so those are the changes to movements. The step jump has been slightly nerfed. And that is just a scale thing. Everything you could do previously with a step jump, you can still do with either a step jump or a step jump with a shotty. Maybe not as quite as easily as before, but I believe it's a little bit nicer. It makes things feel more to scale. If you noticed, I've been narrowing some areas. JJ pointed out that it makes them more defensible, which I also like. But I like the way it affects the way we interpret the scale of the map. Suddenly the map looks larger even though it's the same size because this is a door. Rather than, say, this being a door, you know? Okay, but that's just cosmetic things. No big deal. So let me go on to talk about HoonyMode, which everyone should be excited about because it's really fun. 1 versus 1 duel is fun, but as everyone knows, it can potentially be stressful. And the reason for that is a small skill difference can blow matches out and make you feel like a massive loser. Or make you feel like a massive RAPIST. Which is not fun either, in my opinion, although some people may like it. So HoonyMode is in here. So we got 4 finished-ish maps and a couple more on the way. By the way, in the host game menu, you've always got more maps to test available in the drop down. However, the more finished ones that we're encouraging people to play for a better game, a likely better game, they have tabs. So let's just look at alright. So Hoony maps are generally meant to be a bit smaller. Well, they're not meant to be anything. They're meant to be, well, the basics of HoonyMode is that when you frag someone or you get fragged, both players respawn and all the items reset, so you're starting fresh every time. So unlike duel, it's more fun because you don't get on a winning streak or you don't get on a losing streak, and it's more about the situation, each particular situation. Although, you know, you can get some good long rallies happening, which is fun. Alright, so this is a very basic implementation of the traditional HoonyMode rule set so far, because you don't have frag advantages and things. You just score a point and it goes for 10 minutes, and whoever's got the most points at the end wins. I'm wondering. Yeah, so whereas HoonyMode was different, you'd it was more specific, but this is kind of just a basic thing. We also have a special spawn system for HoonyMode that is based on rounds. So every frag is a round. So you both you got spawns for round 1, spawns for round 2, spawns for round 3, and as many rounds as you want. This map has 3 rounds, so it's got 6 spawns. And the spawns are designed to create a situation right off the bat. So you might have one spawn pointing at the rails from this side and one spawn pointing at the rails from the other side, and that could be the situation. Or you could have I think one of them is like, someone spawns here facing the mega and someone spawns down here, so they're going to see the guy there like, ooh, the guy, and they're going to get the ammo, and they're either going to go this way and attack him as he gets that, or he's going to go this way and try and cut him off. And this guy's going to wonder, how's he going to respond to that. He might end up grabbing it and ducking through here and then backing back, or and he's going to have the extra health to deal with it as well. So that's an example of how HoonyMode is going to play with the spawns. We're actually thinking we are going to extend it in the future with maps that are separate little arenas. So maybe even like smaller and more situation specific mini maps, and cycle through them per round. So one map that you're playing could be 3 little arenas that you kind of move through. So that is HoonyMode. Let me just wonder if anything else has changed that I should fill people in about. You got little descriptions here for the game modes. Nothing too much has changed. The profile still doesn't really work. I think I have to put a bit of effort into making the dual ranks work. Although if they were working, I would probably still be 1, and so I wouldn't really know if it was working. If anyone gets a dual rank of 2 or 3 or whatever, just let me know that that's happening, because that means it's working, because I myself probably wouldn't be able to tell, because I lose more than I win, just because the people who play this game with me are mostly better than me, fortunately for the game, and fortunately for other people of my skill, because I can tweak the game to work for us. I'm only joking, I'm just making it as fun as I can. Let's talk about some of these things. Potato mode is a work in progress. It's basically when you're playing on like Intel HD or whatever. 386 still does what it says it does, but these are all the main graphics options on one line here. It is all catering for the lowest common denominator. I mean, without potato checked, it's already really low settings, like it's on the lowest possible Unreal level of settings, and that's because the game doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need any kind of high quality reflections or anything, obviously, so there's no reason to have any graphics settings at all, except for this one, which will basically just make it complete. It will just wipe out everything possible. For example, it works now. I don't have a way to turn off the fog in the package game. So it turns off all dynamic lights. So the items have lights that light up the level around them, and that's how the game is lit. It's lit by the items. And this basically turns those off, so there's no lighting in the game at all once that is checked. And then I raise the gamma as well to compensate. Unfortunately, I can't turn off the fog, so with the gamma raised and the fog on, it looks really overexposed. It still probably will help some people, but crosshair you can have colored. You set up some things here that you can set up your teammate color and enemy color here. There is a button for, it's called dodge now. It used to be called ability because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but there's no abilities now, but there is a dodge, so it's called dodge. You cannot hold the button down and continually dodge, but it does have a very short cooldown, so you can basically spam it. And you can't chain it into future movement with the kind of momentum system. It's completely separate. You won't be able to jump straight after dodging, so you will go right back down to walk speed before you can start doing other things. Okie dokie. Oh yes, big thing here. You can previously you were not able, you can't bind mouse wheel to these things in Unreal Engine by default, which is not great, but I've kind of compensated for that with a drop down for weapons. So if you want to put a weapon on mouse wheel up or down, you can do so here. The sense has been altered to kind of match Quake sense. It's not exact, I haven't worked out exactly, I've just kind of done a little survey like who has what sense and what Quake sense do you have, and then I've tried to kind of create an average. So, you know, it's a place for people to start before they go tweaking. It's actually pretty close to UT as well. Okie dokie. For example, 1.2 is about 20 centimeters for 360 without any acceleration on 800 DPI. I think most people are probably on 1000 DPI, so not much difference. Throw is capture the ball specific, but now we're getting into detail, so we don't need to. These things don't work too well still. I always play in borderless because full screen's a bit messy. It doesn't remember your resolution currently. Need to do a pass on that. It's not blocking too many people from playing, fortunately. Yeah, still no music in the game. I'm playing at 140 FOV right now, but I think I designed the game at 120 for 120 and I think that would suit most beginners, people who are a bit more comfortable playing on a bigger monitor. I'm on 27 inch and I feel pretty comfortable, so I stick it up to 140, but 130 is good too. Let's everything else is the same. Yep, everything else is the same. So that's just a little update. Some of the new maps. Let's just have a look at some of the new maps. Tiny Deck, inspired by Unreal Tournament deck, which, as someone pointed out, I didn't really need to mention that because no one would recognize it anyway. It's a completely different thing, really. I don't even have the platforms there, you know. It's one thing I will quickly mention about the flick is that it's not, you know, you have to really, it's a bit different. It takes a while to get it as up to like 1600 as, yeah, wow, that's not bad. Yeah. Alright, anyway. Tiny Deck. Sorry if I sound nonplussed, I'm just disappointed with my ability to make sense. JJ is working on indicated correction and churned is a dual map. These are indicated correction and pillar are JJ's Hoonie maps. Pillar is on the list for playing. It's a pretty tiny map, you can fall off. Currently it has a teleport. I put that in without JJ's permission. So JJ is going to work on this and fix up another thing. It may just be that you die, which I wasn't fussed on because I don't like the way it kind of interrupts the game flow. Because when one player dies, both players are kind of, well, the player who doesn't die gets an effective point because the player who dies loses a point. But I still think that it doesn't feel good, even though you get a point when you have to restart everything. But otherwise, it's kind of cool. One thing you can do with the HoonyMode spawn system is like one round you can force one player to start here and one player to start over there, and then you can create the situation where are they both going to rush this armor, this mega health and try and get it, or is one player going to concede and go and get something else, drop onto the red, I guess, which is just here. Alright, the other two, the other HoonyMode maps are Atriums, which is pretty, yeah, it's still in a state of flux, but it's still very playable for what it is. We are super lazy with the naming at the moment, like super lazy, and it's not really easy to change the names with the way I'm set up all the thumbnails and things, so forgive us for the very unimaginative map names. We'll change them at some point. Okay, yeah. This one is meant, you don't take damage in this map, right? So the objective is to push your opponent off, in which case he will lose a point. If the game is started. In HoonyMode you don't, no points to get applied or detracted until you actually start the game. I was intending for you to be able to push people off with LG, but I have since realized that LG only pushes when it does damage. So I have to either fix that or take LG off the map. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that, but probably I'm not going to deal with it in the short term, so it might just be rocket launcher and shoddy for this one, which is probably fine too. I capped the rocket impulse too, so yeah, so there's currently 2 rocket launches, and shoddy does a fair amount of push as well, by the way, to your opponent. Okay. DM has all the maps except the capture the ball maps in the list, so if you want to check things out, it's a quick and easy way. These are all quite been in the game for ages. Yeah. Alright. So give me a buzz on the interwebs if you would like a game, or ping me if you would like a key for the game. That's also fine. The Discord is linked from shockandrockets.com on the main page in the header. And if you PM me the hack in the Discord, I will give you keys. I mean, if someone buys it, I'm really sorry. I have to keep the price tag on it to kind of detract the masses. I don't want everyone to play this game right now, so it's basically for people who are really interested. So if you are paying money for the game, thank you very much. You're helping me a lot in developing it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I will give out keys. I know that kind of is not ideal because some people would prefer to have it for free and pay for it and then find out afterwards, and I'm really sorry if that was you, but it is only $10 or $15, and the money is going to a very good cause, and you can refund it if you want to, and I'll give you another key if you really want it like that. So yeah, PM me, I'll give you a key for yourself and someone else to play with. That is absolutely fine. Shockandrockets.com. Cheers.